For your health and wellness needs, visit alsherbs.com, ALSHERBS.com, because your health is your wealth. For all your tech support needs, visit ASCS Technical Services at ASCSTS.com. We have on-site service as well as remote support options. Check out brokegeniuses.com. Stay in the know. Order some of our latest merchandise as well as use our financial tools to help you on your daily financial journey.
What's going on? This is the Broke Genius. This is Wealth Wednesdays. This is one of my favorite topics, one of the most important topics that I think that is not discussed. Mainly people, they talk about relationships, men and women, which it ain't really never. I mean, it's been issues. I've had issues with relationships, but I've had more issues with wealth, gathering wealth, attaining wealth, than I've ever had as far as in relation to relationships. Have way more problems with attaining wealth rather than relationships. Now, with that being said, you know, hold on, I'll be back. Yeah. So one of the most important things. Sorry about that. I had to deal with some daddy duties, but as I was saying earlier, one of the most important things about wealth is not necessarily related to your actual, how much money you have in the bank and everything. One of the most important things about wealth is actually, in order to get wealthy, one must value health. Okay. Um, I don't necessarily believe in the whole strategy, basically get rich or die trying. No, I don't agree with that because the world and the planet and the universe is so abundant. You don't have to risk your complete neck in order to maintain or create or attain wealth. But as I was saying before, before I had to deal with a phone call, I remember what I was talking about. So it was basically relationship talking points versus wealth or financial talking points. So with me, relationships have not been much of an issue as big as wealth has been an issue, right? I've had multiple relationships. I've had many relationships with women, right? I ain't never been wealthy. Okay, so that just tells me right there, tells you what's more important, relationships or attaining wealth. Okay, as it states right now, black people collectively, because I ain't got no place I came in the world as I am, a black man, and being in that group, we have an average wealth of $3,000. Okay, that is set by 2053 to be below zero or at zero. So that is the number one topic. I will dispute anyone that would say the argument I would say would be basically the only health as far as anything is concerned with the number one talking point is health. Now you can't achieve wealth. Well, you can't be here and be sick and then be wealthy. You're not going to be here that long. You can't take your Rolls Royce Phantom to the grave with you. You can, but you ain't going to experience it. So pretty much your kingdom is here on this earth. So while you're here, it's best that you be as healthy as possible. Now, I have intro videos and I put, basically my herbs business, alsherbs.com. I put that on my page. Now, I sell products that will help you in achieving your ultimate health goals as well as being your healthiest self. So when you actually do get some money and you get some capital, get some resources and some assets, and actually attain wealth, you can fully enjoy it because now you'll be healthy and you also be wealthy. Okay, so let's get it and let's get it going, and basically let's start it. What we're gonna be talking about basically is real estate wealth strategy. Okay, I'm gonna make this short and sweet for you guys. It is pretty much, very much a topic that I talked about before, but I'm gonna add some things to it. We're gonna go down in the rabbit hole a little bit today because basically we're gonna talk about real estate from a wealth perspective. Okay, from a wealth perspective, I want to just say here that that is what I am doing one, basically step at a time. Right now, working on a project, on a real estate project. Got a land contract. I'm fixing up the house as we speak. Um, I got an investor, co-investor. Very slow with the investing side, but I have a co-investor on the property that I'm working on. So I am about 40% into it. I have two of the main projects ongoing right now. I got an electrical project that basically has to finish, and then also plumbing. So those two alone is about 5 grand, and then also have to get a furnace and get the HVAC system. So all three of those main mechanicals and fixtures in the household that need to be done is about roughly about $6,000 to $7,000. Okay, so once I get those done, that's the meat and potatoes of what I need to do with that house to get it to where it is pretty much a house that's somewhat habitable. It's got water, it's got heat, got electrical. So I say all of that to say basically, I invest in real estate. Real estate is one of the things that entities that I use to make money as well as to take care of current living expenses or living arrangements for myself. Okay, so everyone needs a place to live. Real estate is involved with that. So another perspective of real estate that I want to talk about is basically buying and holding as far as being a landlord, or let's just say rental management, and also fix and flip. Okay. I'm going to show you a couple articles, and it's going to be very interesting. And it's from a wealth perspective. It's pretty much investors that pretty much they say real estate is the way to go. Now, for those that are primarily focused primarily on markets, stocks, and stuff like that, forex, even crypto, and they don't really want to focus on real estate or have not focused on real estate, I want to tell you this. I'm going to leave you with some things today where you're going to be thinking about real estate. You're going to be considering real estate because I'm going to break down some things and I'm going to make you really spark some interest. Now, if you don't already know, this is my Cash App right here next to the Broke Genius to the right. I have yet to hear anyone or see anyone send me a Cash App. Now, I'm not saying that you have to, but I mean, don't be shy. I won't bite you. I won't, enclose who you sent the Cash App, who sent the Cash App to me, or anything like that. It's in private. I mean, all you got to do is say, basically, I sent you this, and you don't. I don't want you to disclose. I sent you this, and I won't pretty much because I'm not shaky. All right, so pretty much, I'll just say this: you ain't got to, but much appreciated. I just think that if I'm saying things that basically warrant you entertainment, or even I'm helping you make money, I'm helping you, with your current financial goals and your life goals. I mean, come on, man, don't do that to a brother. I mean, basically, send your gratitude. I mean, I send my gratitude to many content creators on YouTube and outside of YouTube, because pretty much money is kind of like energy, where you just kind of give someone some energy and fuel to say, hey, you know what, I appreciate you, much success. Here's a little sprinkle of some more success your way to help you on your successful journey. Okay, that's all it is, man. But anyway, I definitely don't need it. It's much appreciated. But as far as real estate is concerned, like I said, I invest in real estate. I'm using real estate right now concurrently. My overall current as well as future goals, as far as when it comes to real estate, is to use real estate to offset debt obligations. Okay, so basically, what I mean by that is I'm going to use assets to take care of liabilities. That's pretty much what the book that I wrote, Millionaire Savings Plan, is about as well. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm using assets to offset my debts as well as pay my debts as well. So, real estate, I remember a story. Okay, so I remember when I lived in a small town. Well, it wasn't necessarily a small town, but actually it was, I think it was called a village. Okay, so I lived in a small village called South Holland, Illinois. And I used to literally hang out at this McDonald's. And there was a lot of old people there. Okay. I was hanging out with old people for a good like year or so, or actually almost 2 years. But these guys, man, they had a lot of knowledge, and it wasn't just old people. It would be, just about anybody pretty much coming up to the McDonald's, hang out, have a little, McDonald's food, which is not the healthiest, and then, chop it up and everything. And I remember this one guy used to come up in there, and he basically was a real estate broker, and he told me about a story about how he used real estate to basically pay for his student loans, basically pay for his debt obligations. And that story stuck with me. I mean, at the time, I had already had a house that I was way in over my head. It was like fire damage house. If you haven't seen it, it's in one of my videos that I did. You know, you just have to find it. But that house, it would have cost me about 50 grand. I had no way to obtain that money, no way to really even start it. By the time I got a job and things kind of went, where I had little money, the house literally was demolished already. Now, I say that to say all that to say this. I mean, basically, the real estate broker that used to come into McDonald's, he, you know, pretty much told me a story of how I could use real estate to also leverage my debt obligations. Now, that being said, not only can real estate help you with your help offset debt obligations, it can also help you attain generational wealth. And many people use real estate to basically create generational wealth. And I'm going to talk about a couple articles that you might be interested in. First one I'm going to put in the chat and also later post it on the video. So this first article is from CNBC.com, and let's get into this one. So the title is Real Estate is Still the Best Investment You Can Make Today, Millionaires Say. Here's why. This article was written October 1st, 2019. So basically, it reads billionaire Andrew Carnegie famously said that 90% of millionaires got their wealth by investing in real estate. Okay. We wanted to know, is this still true? Is investing in real estate still a good idea? According to the 9 advisors in the oracles who made millions by investing in real estate, the answer is resounding yes. Owning made me rich. If you recognize this particular actually older white woman in this picture, you already are either you have some type of entrepreneurial spirit. You already are into, you either a financial geek, uh, like myself, as well as you watch the Shark Tank. because basically this is Barbara Cochran. She's one of the Shark Tank members, and she reads as follows: buying real estate has made me rich, mostly through necessity, not by design. I bought my first itty bitty studio after scraping together a few bucks because I needed to live somewhere anyway. And that you know what, I gotta pause, man. I gotta pause because that is a very beautiful passage right there. Because basically that that's where I'm at in the game. I mean, you gotta first have some place to live, right? So that was the main motive of me trying to get a house because the thing is I didn't want to really rent anywhere. That was not my long term fix. I strongly believe that once you get past a certain age, if you're in a market where you can afford to buy, you should buy by all means. Because okay, once you over 25, I mean basically, or in your late 20s, you got to look at it like, okay, well, I got to get some type of real estate so I can get some type of equity. Renting. This is what I'll say about renting, and I said this on my Facebook page, and my cousin, he's the only one that said something about it, but I'm sure he wasn't the only one that said something about it. In my post, pretty much, I said that renting is not a long term solution. Okay, renting, in my opinion, is a short term solution, like 5 years tops. Okay, you should be ideally saving as much money as you can and actually going towards buying your own property, right? Because see, here's the thing: we're still kind of tied to the feudal system. Okay, if you don't know what the feudal system is, okay, you could watch one of my video on blacks in Europe, and I break down the feudal system pretty much as the monarchy system. So if you have no problems being under a lord and paying him, monthly fees for to basically house you, then I mean, basically, I mean, okay, that's you. But I myself, my ego is a little bit too big for that. And then also my pockets are not big enough for that. Okay. I don't have enough money to constantly pay someone every single month in and month out, 2 months in and all of this other crap. Just don't have it. And I don't want to have it. I mean, I would rather have my own property, deal with it, design it, rehab it, or whatever I want to do with it, I do with it. And that's it. That's that. It's so much so that I would rather if I could only afford a house in the hood, quote unquote. I'd rather buy a house in the hood and I own it than pay rent in a upper class or upper middle class neighborhood. I would, hands down. And the reason why is because you'll never own any rental unless you pay for the whatever you're renting and get a title in hand. Okay, so usually that doesn't work like that. You paying rent. That's the agreement. You just paying rent. You're not owning. So the thing is that this passage it really resonates with me because I mean that's where I'm at as far as things. I'm buying property to basically because I need a place to live anyway. So as it further reads, a few years later, the studio doubled in value, giving me enough cash to plunk down 50% on a one-bedroom apartment. That soon rolled into a two-bedroom and then a three-bedroom and then finally landed me in a 10-room penthouse on Fifth Avenue in New York City. Buying that tiny studio was the most important decision I made because it got me in the game. Okay. Now this is someone else. This is number two. Residential properties can generate income year round. This is I don't know who this lady is. Okay. So she reads, investing in real estate is a great idea if you are in it for the long haul, not a quick return. Your best bet is investing in residential properties that produce rental income year round. Just make sure you understand all associated legal fees and are prepared for unexpected costs. Okay, so I know who this guy is. The right investment will continue to appreciate. This is Grant Cardone, pretty much. He reads, real estate is real, and it's always a good idea to put your money in real assets. But let me be clear, that doesn't mean that all real estate is a good idea. I only buy certain types of properties, generally multifamily, ones in upscale locations that provide consistent cash flow and great potential for future appreciation. Now, here's the thing. Grant Cardone is absolutely okay with whatever he says. I mean, as far as that concerned, if you're comfortable with multifamilies and that's what you want to do, that's great. That's excellent. Okay, and what he's saying, absolutely, I agree with. As far as he only buys in locations that are upscale and provide a consistent cash flow. So let me break it down by my science, by my philosophy, what he's talking about. So I primarily focus on single families, but I'm a noob. I'm not necessarily a seasoned investor. I'm not even, this guy, he's a multi-million dollar investor, okay? You know, I haven't even broke 100,000, so what he's saying is basically, not, because I'm just saying basically I would get into multifamilies, if I had the income enough to get into it, right, or get deals and stuff like that, right. I'm not opposed to it, but I'm more into single family homes at the moment. Now, what he's saying as far as his philosophy of how he buys, he only looks at A and B neighborhoods primarily. He doesn't. He notice he doesn't really talk about the actual house. What he's talking about is the neighborhood grades. Like on my blog and on my videos where I talk about neighborhood grades and housing grades, he's talking about location. Okay, so a B grade and an A grade neighborhood is pretty much typically a middle class, upper middle class, and upper class community. And typically those are communities which people are, they have the income to be able to pay for their housing costs. Okay. So it's a pretty safe investment, you know. People around there are looking for properties constantly. As soon as you even probably buy a property and list it on the market, first week you have offers. That's what a B typically is expected from a B and A grade neighborhood. That's what he's saying. Okay. He only invests multifamily units in B and A grade neighborhoods. Now, as it further reads, I stay away from low income areas and single family homes. But even those assets are probably a better place to store your money than letting cash depreciate while sitting in the bank. Okay, so the thing is this, right? I would ultimately do both. Now, why I would do both is because here's the thing with both, right? So low income single family homes, okay, let's just talk about the low income. Low income communities would be like D and C communities, and C and D grade neighborhoods or whatever communities, they typically be, they're in, areas where it might be a little bit or a lot of real estate blight, such as vacant homes and properties that are in bad condition as well. And then also the unemployment rate might be sort of high or even high, and then collecting rents might be rather difficult or somewhat difficult. Those are, and then it also has a crime element, either a high number of crime or moderate crime. Okay. Now the thing about C and D grade neighborhoods is why I would invest as far as a rental aspect. What you have is good old USA, and you have Section 8 vouchers. Okay, basically, the Section 8 voucher, you automatically get an ACH deposit from Uncle Sam every month from a particular tenant who has a Section 8 voucher. Now, a lot of real estate investors, they use the Section 8 method basically to invest in real estate in those neighborhoods, as well as get cash money from the actual tenants, because Section 8 only pays a certain amount of portion of that rent. And they make enough money where they're, gainfully making money every month automatically with those particular tenants. And then those tenants usually stay, quite a few years, 5 to 4 or more years, may even be longer. And yeah, I mean, I'm all for that. Now some people might be like, a Grey Poupon is a little bit too much, too fresh, and then they don't really want to be bothered with that. Okay, I mean that's fine. I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that. I mean, if you don't want to be bothered with it, don't be bothered with it. Because see, here's the thing: there's plenty of people that are licking their chops trying to be bothered with it. Okay, it's people are actually going out of their way to make sure they can probably get their house or single family home or multi-unit family home up to code so they can rent it out to Section 8. They want that automatic payment every month and that cash payment every month. Okay. Some people, some investors, they don't necessarily want to deal with that. They don't, really want to be bothered with that. And I understand, but it's a lot of people that still, involve themselves with that. So this fourth one, and this will be the last one that I read, and this is buying is smarter than renting. Okay, most millionaires I know made more money from owning real estate than any other investment. Real estate consistently increases in value over time, outperforms other investors. Other investments. Plus, it isn't a vulnerable it isn't as vulnerable to short-term fluctuations as the stock market. You get a tangible, usable asset whether you're renting out in an apartment or a commercial building for income or buying a home. And there can also be tax benefits for investment properties. Okay, this guy is Peter Hernandez. I've never heard of this guy, but anyway, what he's saying is basically true as well. Now, here's the thing: it depends on who's the investor. Now, here's the thing that I'm going to talk about as far as real estate is concerned, and versus the stock market. Now, basically what you have is what he's talking about is with real estate, the price is the price. It pretty much it usually fluctuates where the price increases. Whereas the stock market, like today, the stock market is currently down. Okay, and real estate is not that flux. It doesn't fluctuate that like that. Typically, if it's up, it's up. It's going to gradually go up higher, and if it's down, it's down. Okay, so it doesn't have the daily shift like the stock market, or even minute to hour shift as the stock market. When you lock in tenant and you lock in an agreement for $1,500 a month, that tenant is locked into that $1,500 a month, and the Section 8 is already locked in. The government is going to give you that check every single month for that tenant. As long as that tenant is in there, that's pretty much solid, right? If you list that house from the time you bought it and you fix it up or whatever, and you put it on the market, the price of the other units around it within that 60 days to 90 days, it's not going to change much. It might change a little bit, but it's not going to change like the stock market. That's why people primarily focus on real estate, because they don't really like the stock market, the fluctuations, the ups and the downs, and the highs and the lows. Well, the thing about the stock market is you can make potentially way more profits than even real estate, because you can basically leverage those ups and down swings of the stock market and make money. Whereas, and also in real estate, it takes time to actually from the time you buy a property to sell it. So it's a couple weeks to a month to 2 months, might even be longer, right? It's people that might have tried to sell their house, it might have took them 6 months to sell a property. Well, in the stock market, primarily if you are an investor that has over the 25K to get past the PDT requirements, you can get in and out of the market anytime you want, and you can make as much as you desire as far as if you can, if you're skillful enough to know what companies to get in and out on. Whereas the real estate market is a slow process. You have to wait to fix the house up. You have to wait to put it on the market, and then you have to wait for a buyer to buy it. That process can vary as far as time of purchase to sale. It could vary each particular transaction. Now you can find particular properties that you might can, kind of maybe come to the notion that it'll sell, really fast or really slow, whatever the case may be. You can speculate, but the real estate, I mean, the stock market, you can pretty much get in and out of a position within seconds, depending on your connection of your computer speed and actual network internet speed and how it's connected with the markets and stuff like that. But you can also make tons of money in that same time. For example, I already know, being a millionaire trader, you can make 50 to $60,000 in one day. I follow millionaire traders that do that consistently. Even if you make $14,000 a day, that typically it would take you weeks, if not months, to make that in real estate. It's people that I follow. I've paper traded or traded um, with other, like, just as far as simulation, and I've actually seen how you can actually make 50,000, 60,000, 20,000 in one day, if not make 50,000 within an hour, with the freaking few seconds, a few minutes. Can't do that in real estate. Now, people that might not know how to do that. That's why stockbrokers exist. That's why they make millions and millions of dollars in commissions and drive the whatever car you want, exotic wise. From Maserati, Bugatti to Lamborghini, Ferrari. That's why they can afford that, because they make millions upon millions of dollars in commissions trading options and stock positions every single day. Now, people don't know how to do that. For every probably one highly skilled stock investor or trader, there's probably what 10,000 that don't know how to trade well, that don't know how to even make money or generate money like that. Now, I'm trying to be the one that actually does know, and I strive every day to do that. But investing in stocks have potentials that real estate does not have. Okay, you would you would need to have an entire real estate portfolio in the billions to generate possibly what you could do in the stock market. And then don't even talk about being a billionaire investor. I mean, I'm gonna just be real with you. Real estate investors that are billionaires compared to real estate. I mean, to compared to billionaire stock traders and investors, or let's say hedge fund managers, are gods compared to real estate investors that are billionaires. I'll repeat that again. Billionaire traders, stock traders, are gods compared to real estate billionaires because they know how to leverage the stock market. They have way more money to leverage the stock market than the average person working a 9 to 5. And real estate, as far as being a billionaire, they don't make as much money as an actual billionaire that's a stock trader, investor, whatever the case may be. So I didn't killed that one, but yeah, I mean, as far as fluctuations and everything like that, this gentleman is right. Okay. Now, with that being said, we're gonna move to the next article, and this is from Forbes. Let me copy this and put this in the chat here. So the thing about it is that I do know what I'm talking about. I might not be rich, but I do know what I'm talking about. Okay. So this article is from Forbes. This was written back in 2008. Why real estate builds wealth more consistently than other asset classes. If you live through recent real estate and economic recessions, the very headline of this article might cause you some emotional pain. Less than 10 years ago, the country was swept in economic crisis, the likes of which our generation has never seen. And talking about the 2008 market collapse. I personally remember driving down the street in California's Central Valley and seeing for sale signs on practically one of every four homes. It felt like the market would never recover. Fast forward a few short years, and now massive wealth is being built through real estate, often by average Joes. Cash flow. Cash flow is the money you've left over from rent you've collected all after all expenses have been paid. Most real estate has expenses such as mortgage, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, and property management fees. When you buy a property that pulls in more rent each month than expenses you carry on it, your cash flow is positive. In the majority of investments, stocks, art, jewelry, Bitcoin, ET, etc., you are hoping to buy something that will appreciate in value and sell it later for a profit. In some forms of investing, buying a poorly run business, for example, you may be buying something that produces income and hoping to improve that asset's performance in order to increase its value. For most, this involves too much work and is undesirable. What we are left with is subconscious understanding that to invest is to buy something you'll believe will be worth more later. If this is based on sound principles, it can work. If it's not, it's really more like gambling. Those buying property solely buy because prices were climbing and for no other reason have one exit strategy, sell later. They also have one way to be successful. Hope the property continues to appreciate, and any outcome other than these two is virtually guaranteed to lose money. During the crisis, when the music stopped and the market quit climbing, many of these so-called investors lost their shirts. Real estate in general took a black eye, but was it real estate's fault? Wise investors don't bet on appreciation. They purchase properties on a sound judgment that the property will generate more income than it costs to own. For these folks who cash flow positively, they don't care what the market does. If prices drop, they are safe. If prices rise, they have more options. Okay. So yeah, this article very interesting perspective. Okay, I'm gonna let you read that. I'm gonna close this one out and talk about some things as far as what I think about real estate. I've I've talked about this before, but you might have missed it. Okay, the thing about real estate that I enjoy as far as property management or being a landlord is that I find is quite interesting is that one you have to for example with stocks, right? Let's say you have $50,000 and you could buy a house for $50,000. It's already fixed up, it's already ready to be rented out. All you have to do is just kind of like just turn the key, right? And you just buy, for that same $50,000, you buy, let's say, $100,000, 100,000 shares of underlying stock position, right? Well, that's all you have with that $100,000, right? That $100,000, you buy that stock position. That's it. I mean, 100,000 shares is all you're gonna get. You're gonna, yeah. The only chances you can get more shares if the company does some type of like split where you pay more shares than what you actually have and stuff like that. But mainly you only have 100,000 shares. That's what you have. That's it. That's all. Well, the thing about real estate, and that's why I double dip, I both, is that you buy that same $50,000 house, you rent it out, you already paid that $50,000. Now, it might be cost as far as appreciation costs, as far as you know, after about 5 years, you have to fix it up because the tenant that was in there, he, messed it up. He put some wear and tear on it. But you typically don't have to spend $50,000 to fix up the house. You might have to spend, let's say, maybe 10%. You might have to spend about $5,000 and fixing up the house, repainting, put some new carpet in, stuff like that, right? Then you do it back over to, find a good tenant to do that. Now, the thing about real estate, and this is what I learned by Robert Kiyosaki, okay, ex Marine fighter pilot, right? He basically financial guru. That same $50,000 property, you could continuously keep renting out. Then, okay, you 60 years old, you about ready to, kind of fall back. You just sign the paperwork over to your son. Here you go, son. Now you rent it out. Your son, he's better than you. He's more disciplined than you. He rents it out for 20, 30, 40 years. Same property, right? He done fixed it up about 5 or 10 times over. Then he hands it to his son. Okay, I just pretty much just gave where I'm going with this. This pretty much the same property. Now you done paid the taxes here. I know taxes is involved in that, but you pretty much done netted the continuous reign of an unlimited investment from this property. As long as this property is standing and it's in good condition enough to collect rent that is, solid, right? Not being no slumlord, you're gonna continuously collect rent on that property. Now I know you might be like, okay, well, what if you got 100,000 shares of Apple? That will work when it actually will be better. Don't get me wrong, but the fluctuations of the market in particular companies, you might buy instead of buying an Apple, you might buy a Gateway. It just that was your luck. You had just bought a Gateway. You bought 100,000 shares of Gateway. Okay, and however that would work out for you. Okay, you buy that same house. It doesn't matter if the companies go out of business. There goes your shares. Now I've bought companies. I've had 1,000 shares, a penny stock, and they just went out of business. They filed bankruptcy and they closed their doors. Guess what happened to me, broke genius with 1,000 shares? My 1,000 shares turned into freaking paper for barbecue. Okay. So where if I had a house in that same scenario, right? That house, I could continuously collect rent. I could, if I just want to say it's over and done with, I could put it on the market and sell it and get property from it. I mean, get money from it, right? Well, that's the beauty of real estate. Okay, that's things that the pros and cons of real estate, why people invest, right? Because I mean, it's an infinity process. If you as long as you keep passing down that same house, that's why people be like, don't sell mama's house or don't sell daddy's house. But a lot of times, people don't really understand things, and they, be like, brother, they want the house to get some money because they're a simp, and then they just got a new girlfriend that they want to buy a car to impress her. So, then the sister, she want to have weight loss surgery because she's, 295 pounds and 5'6". So then you got all your sisters and brothers, you giving them the side eye because they want to sell, quote unquote, mom and daddy's house. And, they want to stop the actual generational cycle. They don't understand the game. That's it. That's all. But the thing is that yeah, you can constantly keep renting the property out to infinity. I mean, you can pass it on fourth generation, same house, and collect rent. Stock market is kind of hard for stocks to kind of do that. I mean, it is possible, but it's kind of rare. Only companies I could say, one company in particular, I could say that you could do that. I mean, Apple is definitely one. Okay, even you could say Microsoft going back to when it IPO. One company I'll say, and I'm sure I mean, there's plenty of companies, but Walgreens, right? Walgreens has been around since the early 1900s. My grandmother actually, one of her the lady that she used to take care of, she actually had thousands of shares of Walgreens. She used to collect dividend checks every dividend cycle from Walgreens. She literally, she's like the old lady, um, and she had bought Walgreens back when it was like the early 1900s. So she bought it for like pennies, and yeah, she was collecting thousands of dollars in the 90s from owning, Walgreens. So as long as it's a legacy company and they're around, yeah, you can. The same concept still applies. You might not be getting as much money, but you might be making more. But how many companies can stand the test of time, right? Because all you got to do is file bankruptcy and it's done so for you. Okay, for example, Sears. Sears already filed bankruptcy. They're talking about filing another bankruptcy. Okay, that you had a good 100-year run, but don't get me wrong. But I mean, Second they file bankruptcy or go out of business, it's over with. I mean, um, it's houses that are in the like New England area, on the East Coast, that are still standing, that was built in the 1600s. Okay, so I mean, that being said, that is why real estate is something you should look at for a wealth strategy. Now, another thing, and I'm going to go back to health. It doesn't value you anything if you're not, healthy. So I've started just yesterday. I started basically a liquid fast. So initially, I was trying to do a water fast, but I just thought to myself, the water fast probably is too difficult. I tried to do it one time, and I was like, it's very difficult. So I just basically ended it with just like, you know what, I'll just do a liquid fast. So what I drink right now is of like a day and a half. I drink water, juice, tea, and coffee. Okay, no pop, none like that. But I've been doing it, and it's challenging, but it's all right. It's pretty. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's doable. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty good, and it's all about your health. It don't matter how much money you got in the bank if you're not feeling good or if you're sick. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, just think about all the people that died just this year, and then of course, of this pandemic that's going out. So you definitely want to value your health over your wealth. Definitely. What would you pay to stay here another day or another year? That's what you got to think. I mean, to yourself as far as things. I mean, don't stress yourself out trying to make money when basically you could be more healthy and enjoy the long term versus killing yourself and burning yourself out trying to make a living. That's one of the things that I learned. Like burnout and all that. I mean, you making money, okay, cool, but nah, it's not really worth it because in the end, a lot of times people make money effortlessly. I mean, you just got to learn how to do it. I'm still learning, trying to learn how to do it, not so much effortlessly, but just have a system and work that system and scale it up. That's what I mean by making money effortlessly, right? So it's like trying to burn yourself out to make a buck. It's just, it's not worth it, man. Going to the grave early, trying to make a buck, it's not a good trade off. So that's all I have today. I just wanted to just end on that, and I'll see you on the next one.